Mayor, I sent you a message. If you could take a look at it, please.
On the email?
On this
On my phone.
chat notes on this Zoom.
Nah, I'm not too. Let me look at it. Oh, it's 9 o'clock. Hold on a minute.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay, I'll talk to you afterwards, since it's 9 o'clock.
Okay.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
It is 9 o'clock. So it's good to see everyone. In spite of the rain, this is still a good day. And we are so grateful and thankful that everyone is here, and can't thank you all enough. So with that said, I am calling the meeting to order. It is 9 o'clock. And I would like to ask, is Pastor Don Abrams out there? Pastor Abrams? Mike, do you know whether he's out there or not?
Yes, sir, he is. I'm actually linking him in right now.
Okay.
All right, looks like I'm there. Let me figure out why we'll start the video here. There we go. Good morning.
Good morning, Pastor Abrams. We certainly appreciate your willingness to do this. So at this time, as you know, we have started the meeting, and at this time, it's our honor and privilege to have you to lead us with the invocation.
It's my honor. Thank you. If you would, let's bow our heads and go to the Lord in prayer. Heavenly Father, you have placed each one of us in the position that you would have us be. Pray this morning that you would guide the elected officials for this wonderful city, the staff, the department heads, that everything we say and do this morning would be to your glory. We would hear your still small voice in our heart, and that would translate to doing what you have placed us here to do. Guide us and lead us, and we give thanks for all that you and your son have already done and will continue to do in our lives. It is in your son's precious name we pray. Amen.
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 Thank you, Pastor. At this time, I'd like to call on Councilwoman Johnson, if she can lead us with the pledge. And as you see, we all hope everyone can view the flag over my shoulder. So we don't necessarily have to stand, but if you would like to, you can. But I'm going to stand, and at this time, I'd like to call on Councilwoman Johnson to lead us with the pledge. Mrs. Johnson.
Thank you. Salute. Pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much, Ms. Johnson.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor Abe. If you would like to stay, you can. If you would like to leave, it will not be held against you, as we always say. We certainly appreciate what you do for this community, and we appreciate your heart and your willingness. And thank you again, Mr. Johnson. With that being said, at this time is one of our highlights that we've started, and we're grateful for this. Can't say thank you enough, but at this time, I'd like to call on the HR Director, Stephanie Chastain, and our City Manager, Wallace Hunter, to do this presentation to well-deserving people. Mrs. Chastain.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a highlight for us. This is an opportunity for us to thank our employees for their hard work and dedication that they put in to serve our citizens each and every day. We do this in increments of 5 years. So these were the anniversaries from September. Chief Smith, I didn't know, did you have your employees? Are they in there with you? I don't see them on, so I didn't.
No, ma'am, I'm sorry. They none of them were able to make it for us.
Okay. All right. So I know the one I do see out there is Miss Shelley Whitus, and she had her 10-year anniversary for part-time employment. So round two, she had 10 years. She actually retired with us with 31 years of full-time service, and then came back in a part-time capacity and has done 10 years in that. So, and I know she said she got some more drive in her, so she's going to stay a little bit longer. So congratulations, Shelley. And I open the floor for you to say a few words if you'd like to.
Yes, ma'am. Thank y'all very much. I appreciate it. And I've told everybody up here that I'm going to stay at least 5.5 more years. That'll make me a little over 66. And I'm going to go from being Todd's pain in the butt to whoever the new director is when Todd retires. I've always been married to this job. When I started at 19, I told them, I'll have my trials and tribulations, but I'll stay with y'all. And I have, and I've enjoyed every year and still enjoy them. Thank y'all so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Shelley. Shelley B. Shelley, as I call her, and I can call her that. And she's never corrected me. She and I went to high school together, and what you see is what you get. And I do know she started right after high school. So you're telling my age now. I didn't get permission to do that. You told your age now, but you telling my age. But.
Yeah. Well, yours could be a secret. We're both just we were both black-headed when we was in school. Now we're both gray.
Well, that's a good thing. And on behalf of the council and myself, we certainly appreciate everything that you have done. We appreciate your energy, and more importantly, we appreciate your genuine in your heart, because you can't do this if you don't, this long, 41 years, if you don't have the right kind of heart. And we certainly appreciate you for that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So the others that we had that weren't able to be here today, with the police department, Yolanda Phillips with 5 years of service, Sergeant Cassandra Bryan with 5 years of service, Corporal Todd Griffith with 10 years of service. And then with our code enforcement division, Richard Carlson with 15 years of service. And then with our engineering public works department, Derek Wilson with 5 years of service. So thank you to all these individuals. And I hate that they couldn't be on today, but we will make sure we get them a certificate and a pen, just thanking them for their time.
Thank you so much, Stephanie. And please relay that from all of the council, how much we appreciate them and thank them for what they are doing. And tell them to keep praying for a good harvest, but keep on hoeing. And those next 20, 25 years will fly by, which we hope they can stay that long. Thank you all so much. Thank you, Shelley B. Shelley. Appreciate you. Thank you all. Thank you, Stephanie. With that, proceeding on, council, on the city clerk. At this time, council, I'd like to call for a motion for the approval of the regular scheduled meeting minutes for September the 20th work session, as well as September the 21st council meeting. And since we were all there, council, I will ask that we take this in one vote. So with that said, at this time, I'd like to call for a motion for approval. May I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve.
All right, motion by Mr. Gordon. May I have a second? May I have a second? May I have a second? We, council, we need to approve these minutes. And since everyone was there, can I have a second?
Well, Mayor, that's what I wanted to talk with you about. I don't know another way. That's why I wanted to speak with you before the meeting, because I had a question about the minutes of the meeting, and I'm questioning my vote. And I asked, I think my vote is wrong, so that's why I didn't second the motion.
Okay.
Well, I think on one of the, let me just rephrase that. On one of the resolutions, I'm saying I had a question about it. So that's why I did not second the motion or initiate the approval of the minutes, because I had a question about my vote.
What was your question, Mrs. Johnson?
Okay, it was on the rezoning from one we had with the R1 to C3 zoning as meeting, the evening meeting. And and I was telling Miss Melanie, I wrote down yes on my and I could be wrong. And I asked, to hear the recorded minutes, but she said she erased them. But so I'm just in question right now about my vote and no one else's.
Mayor, may I say something?
I don't know how to vote on passing these minutes, because I have a question about the minutes.
Okay, what was your question? How you voted? Is that what you're asking?
Yes.
I can tell you, I can remember what you voted, and let me tell you the reason why I can remember it too.
Okay.
you voted no, and which is, you know, everyone's right. And as I've always said, and everyone who's been on the council with me, Arthur, man, you know, we have no right to ask any person why they voted the way they did. That's their rights, that there's conviction, and that's what they do. And we have no right to question that. And the ones, and you can ask any of these employees, I can remember when we first got on and a person asked another person why they voted that way. And I immediately respectfully jumped in and said, you have no right to do that. This person vote the way they want to vote. But the reason why I remember it distinctively is because of the vote that we had off of 28. And in my mind, I was saying, well, it was voted differently, but it was the same thing. So you did vote no for it, Mrs. Johnson. I don't know what you wrote down, but I do know the minutes as we read them reflect that you voted no. And of course, you know, everything was recorded. I know it's been probably erased based on what I heard you say, according to what you said, Mrs. Lee said, but you know,
Right.
everything is being recorded on cable TV. And you know, your vote is your vote, but right now that's passes. But you know, with these minutes, we need to approve these minutes because of the consistency that we have always portrayed. You said you wrote down yes, but
Well, if we have a question, you know, the motion was to deny.
yes.
And so if you agree to deny, you vote yes. If you disagree, then you vote no. And I do remember that everyone voted yes to deny except Councilmember Johnson. I guess my question is this: if Councilmember Johnson has a question about it, is it possible to table the most minutes, or do we need to, can we table them until she is able to discuss that with someone further? Or what, how do we need to handle that, I guess?
You know, with us tabling it, I mean, it's already, the decision has already been raised. And my question, Councilman Gordy, is do we need to table something that has already been decided by vote?
Well, I mean, we're not changing anything with the ordinance. This is just, I guess this is just the recorded minutes we're questioning.
But she
It's not
said,
gonna have anything to do with it's not gonna have anything to do with the ordinance. I think Councilmember Johnson is just questioning the recorded minutes. Is that correct?
Is that correct,
Right.
Mrs. Johnson?
I thought I voted yes, and this was a evening meeting. Is that correct?
That's
Yes,
right.
ma'am. Jimmy, I mean, because everyone was there. Mr. Graham?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What's the legal take on this?
Well, I mean, I remember her voting no also. The only reason that you would want to table it would be to correct the minutes if she had voted, you know, yes, and we put no, but she voted no.
Right.
So there's no reason to table it, and you can't go back and unring the bell, as they say. She voted like she voted.
Now, Mrs. Johnson, the Robert Rules of Order states, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Graham, that if you're on the prevailing side, then you can bring up something for a revote. Am I correct, Mr. Graham?
Yes, sir, you are.
But in this case, you were not on the prevailing side.
Yeah, Mary wasn't a revote. I just, like I said, I told Mel that I need to go to see 2 doctors if you know. And what caught my attention was I was cleaning off my credentials, and I know we're getting off the agenda, but I came across the article that was in the paper, and that what led me to start looking at the minutes. I'll be honest, I didn't fully glance at them, and I saw where it say, you know, city council vote no, votes not to allow commercial zones. So I would just, I'm questioning myself now. I'm not questioning.
Okay.
Well, Councilmember Johnson, you'll be able to see this on the broadcast on cable TV. You'll be able to see it. You wouldn't have to take anybody's word, but you'll be able to see yourself vote no.
Yeah, but Melanie says she erased the recorder.
No, it's not on. It has nothing to do with the recorder. This is going to be on live TV as far as CTV beam, that's gonna be live. That's live. You will see yourself on there. That recorder, that's why we have several methods of doing this. And when you see yourself on there, that hadn't been edited or anything. It's gonna be on live. They'll be able to show you that from the cable station.
So, Ms. Johnson, my question is, are you saying you wanted to change the vote?
Well, I thought I voted yes. Okay. And I thought 2 people voted no. I could be wrong. Like I said, I just, that's just what I remember.
Yeah.
And
Well,
now
it was a motion to
questioning
deny.
myself.
It was a motion to deny by Councilman Bailey. Councilman Bailey made the motion to deny.
That's
And
right.
that was the vote was on that motion that he made.
I think it's possible, Mel, that she probably made a misunderstanding the way it went. Because we were voting to deny him. Then when they called for the vote, I voted yes. All voted yes, and she said no.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you can't go back and change your vote.
Listen, I understand that. I just said that I thought it was a 3-2 vote on this one right here, and I could be wrong. Okay, and that's why I was just questioning my vote myself.
Yeah.
Okay. No, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. All right. Proceed. You can proceed.
Mayor,
Yes, ma'am.
I just want to address the issue of erasing the recordings. What I record on is a little handheld that only holds 2 or 3 hours. So after the meetings, I transfer those recordings over to my computer. The computer is what we use in the YouTube, when it's recorded on YouTube. We use both of them when we translate the minutes into the written form that y'all approve. So I just want to say, yes, it was erased off the actual recorder, but not before it was transferred to the computer. So they're not erased completely. And I just wanted to clarify that.
And this is something you do all the time.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So, Mrs. Johnson, I guess what you're saying, Mrs. Lee, and correct me if I'm wrong, she can see those recordings, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And is that what you want to do, Mrs. Johnson? And that's why you asking if we could, the question came up about tabling it.
No, I just wanted to hear her recordings, but we can proceed, Mayor.
Well, again, I'll say something because I'm starting to see a lot of different things going like this, not just here, but in the planning commissions also. It needs to be a clear understanding, and maybe Jimmy, you need to make sure also, if you don't mind, make sure that when we have the different votes, when people are calling on to deny something versus to, approve something, people get confused, and I've seen some blind voting go on before. It's like, you got to make sure before you vote. And at the last planning commission, I've seen a vote go on the same way, and it wasn't understood. It was understood after the vote had been made. And that right there throws people off. It's no harm in asking the question to make sure you get it right. And I think the people in the planning commission, and now that I see it's affecting this vote with the council, that need to be understood before a vote is made, because it's clear. And what happens, just like now, with this going on and it's looking a different way, this kind of thing causes problems amongst people. And I hope this can get cleared up today. And that's why, Mike, I want you to make sure you get the recording that's there from the cable company, so we can make sure this is cleared up. The same thing we need to do with some of the things with the planning commission, so people won't have hard feelings, because that's what this causes. I just want to say it straight out, because now that we're on TV for the whole world to see, and they may not understand or think we don't conduct business like we should. I hope that we can get this straightened out today.
Okay, Mrs. Johnson, anything else you want to, anything else? I see what you're saying. You was on the understanding that you voted in support as the other council members did.
Right.
Okay.
I understood that I voted yes, but Mayor, like I said, I was just questioning my vote. So, but There's nothing further.
Okay, anyone else? Arthur or Griff? Anything?
Well, Mayor, I really, I see a hesitant and hear a hesitant in a voice that Mr. Hunter brought up a very good point. She need to see for herself, and we all understand what went on, but she need to see it for herself.
Okay. So Mrs. Johnson, or in pertaining to what Mr. Gordy said, but again, we had the attorney, you know, if the decision has already been made based on us tabling it, which makes it almost impossible to table it because the
Well,
decision.
Mayor, with our authors on now, I think that we can go ahead and vote on it. I think we can go ahead and proceed.
Well,
Yeah, let's
Okay.
go ahead.
Okay, well, we do have, I asked for a motion, again, Mr. David, I think you got on late, and I apologize, I'm thinking everybody was on it and I was rushing. But again, it was the approval of the regular scheduled mini meetings for the September the 20th work session as well as September 21st council meeting. And I asked for a motion, since we were all there, we can take them in one setting. So I asked for a motion and we got the motion from Councilman Gordy. And I asked for a second. So we need a second to get these approved.
I second that motion.
Okay, so we have the motion and the second. So at this time, call for the vote. Mrs. Lee?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Day,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes,
Councilmember Gordy,
Yes.
Mayor Lo.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you. And proceeding on now, council, on the city council, are there any unfinished business? Since there's not any unfinished business, I will proceed with the resolutions and on administration. We have a resolution in reference to adopting the revised cash reserve policy to increase the emergency fund from $2 million to $3 million. Mrs. Lee.
Yes, sir. Whereas the city of Phoenix City has an obligation to its citizens to maintain a prudent fiscal policy. And whereas in resolution 2013-20, the city established a cash reserve policy to maintain operating cash reserves in the general fund sufficient to pay the obligations of the city from 90 to 120 days and an emergency fund of $2 million with the expressed intent to increase this amount as conditions allow. And whereas the financial condition of the city has improved to allow for an increase of the emergency fund to $3 million. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Phoenix City, Alabama hereby adopts the revised cash reserve policy to increase the emergency fund from $2 million to $3 million. Passed, approved, and adopted this 5th day of October, 2021.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Lee. Council, we've all heard the reading of the resolution. At this time, I'd like to ask for a motion, please. May I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
All right, you have a motion from Mr. Day. May I have a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Gordy.
Yes.
Okay, we have the motion and second. Any comments or discussion?
Yes, Mayor. One of the things I asked on yesterday, with that amount of money going into our reserve, with that, we already have double A minus rating. Is that right, Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now once this goes in, would they give us a double A plus, or how do that work?
No, you still have to go through the process.
Yeah.
And
go through
this
the whole
is-
process.
This is a huge, very, very important part of the metrics that they use. And there's some other ones as we discussed as far as that, our liquidity, in which this helps puts us in a strong, very strong position, liquidity for this reserve. But also they look at all the other liquidity that we have, which the city is in great shape. Of course, we all know things can happen out of our control. This is why we want to continue to increase the reserve, but they also look at the effective buying power or the medium household expenses. They look at the accountability of the city as far as the management style of this. So there are several metrics that they look at, but this is a very important part of this. And this is really huge. And I think, as I did say yesterday, and I think this is the first time that the city has had this much in this reserve. So it's a great move. It's a strong move. It's a bold move, and we have a lot to be thankful of and proud of. So yes, to Mr. Day, it will help us the next time we want to do some bond issue. Bottom line is, it's just like your credit report. The better your credit report is, the better interest rate you get. And that's typically what this is. Mr. Honey, anything you want to add to that, or any other council members?
No, you took care of the gist of it. Basically, it's a major part of what we need to do to show our sustainability to financially secure the city. But it's ironic to look at what's going on today. Like I told you all on yesterday, we also have another 15 million in operating reserves also, but this is money just in case. Look at the weather that we're in today. I hope a lot of people realize it only takes several sinkholes to wipe out a certain amount of revenue. And that's why it's very important to be secure in that emergency fund that we have over there, but also in our funding that we keep in our operating, keep it at a certain balance also, because before this week is over and the damage that was caused yesterday, when we start to assess some of that, that's where you're going to pull from a lot of the operating reserves, not necessarily the emergency. And the way the emergency is set up is to where it's a certain amount that we can go and pull out. At the same time, it's a certain amount that the council have to approve to be pulled out. So these are the things that you have to show standards and pours that your city is doing and cognizant of where they must put different fundings to take care of the city. So it's part of the test and battery that they put together, but it's very important. It's a major step in doing the things and obtaining the goals that we seek to come from this type of management of our funding in the city of Phenix City. That's just
Well,
a
only
strong
thing-
move.
That is a strong move, Mayor. My hat's off to Mr. Hunter and his staff. That's very good. And Mr. Hunter, as I said in the past, and that our rating, there are other entities such as the commission, the county commission, and the school board can use that rating as well. Is that right?
That's correct. That's correct. We are the economic battery of Russell County. We are the engine that makes it flow. And that's where you're dealing with, dealing with county government, dealing with housing authority, dealing with anyone that's here that's an important agency to us is based off of how well this city is performing. And that's what we always want. We want to lead the way and make sure that everybody can be a passenger on this ship. That's what we are trying to make sure we're done. And it's a great achievement because you got to remember, even going back some years ago, we didn't have a rating like this. So we didn't have this strong liquidity that we could put in front of someone that would take, or agency or board to take a look at and assess and say, well, this is where this city started at, and this is where they're at this point. And that's what we want to leave a legacy and leave something. I always have said this before I get out of here. And taking over the city manager during the worst recession that we could have had, I was given a jalopy. When I leave here, I want to leave a Rolls Royce. That's what we've got to do as a team to make sure that people have something. I'm not one of those type people to say people got to fend for themselves. You might say that on an individual deal outside of this place, but when you work for this city, it should always be leaving it in better hands than what you found it. And I contribute that to the understanding of all the department heads. I contribute that to our finance department that's done well moving this money and shifting it and trying to have the timing and when to do these type things. Like I say, it's the things that we are left doing, things we have to take care of. Let's take a look at this. We talk, and we're going to talk later on. And when they talked about Gail Green passing on, also, when you look at the finance aspect of it, I had my old partner, Steve Smith, here during that time. And we went backwards and forward over a lot of stuff, but we always had in common trying to make sure that the city was strong financially. So you look, and it's an honor to people like that that's giving their life up working with this city and trying to be here during this pandemic. All of this comes to mind when you have the different successes, and they're looking down on us and saying that's great with the things we're doing. So it touches you to be able to accomplish a lot of different things. It's important for this city. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hunter. Okay, council, with that, we've heard the reading of the resolution. At this time, we've had our comments. So at this time, I'd like to call for the vote. Mrs. Lee?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Day,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy,
Yes.
Mayor Lo.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. And proceeding on administration, we have a resolution in reference to authorizing the mayor and city manager to make application to a Deca Community and Economic Development Division for grant assistance from the Recreational Trails Program to restore the asphalt path and purchase new signage at the Idle Hour Park Nature Trail. Mrs. Lee.
Yes, sir. Whereas the city of Phenix City is concerned for and committed to improving all amenities located at existing municipal parks. And whereas evidenced by that commitment, the city wishes to submit an application to the Community and Economic Development Division of the Alabama Department of Economic and Community Affairs for grant assistance from the Recreational Trails Program for the purpose of restoring the asphalt path at the Nature Trail at Idle Hour Park, clearing vegetation within 10 feet of both sides of the trail, and purchasing new signage to place along the trail. And whereas the cost of the project is quoted at $193,054.62. And whereas the Deca Community and Economic Development Division grant provides 80% of the project cost, which would be the maximum allowed at $154,443.69, and requires the city to provide the remaining at least 20% of the cost, which would be $38,610.92. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Phenix City, Alabama hereby authorizes the filing of said application, including all understandings and assurances contained therein, and directs and authorizes its mayor and city manager to act in connection with the application and to provide such additional information as may be required. Be it further resolved that the city of Phenix City will provide $38,610.92 for the cost share requirement to make the project whole, and will be responsible for any cost overruns associated with the project. Passed, approved, and adopted this 5th day of October, 2021.
Thank you so much. We've heard the reading of the resolution, council. At this time, I'd like to call for a motion, please. May I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
All right, we got a motion by Councilman Gordy, and that's a second by Mr. Day.
That's fine.
Okay. Comments or discussion? Okay. If not, I'd like to call for the vote. Mrs. Lee?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Day,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy,
Yes.
Mayor Lo.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. And next, council, we have a resolution in reference to premium paid to employees with American Resource Plan funds. Mrs. Lee.
Yes, sir. Whereas the city of Phenix City, Alabama was impacted and continues to be impacted by the COVID-19 virus and its variants. And whereas on March the 11th, 2021, the federal government enacted the American Rescue Act Plan of 2021. And whereas pursuant to provisions of the ARPA, the Department of Treasury has issued rules regarding the implementation of the Coronavirus Local Fiscal Recovery Fund. And whereas the city manager, as chief executive officer for the city of Phenix City, has analyzed the job duties performed by city staff during the COVID emergency. And whereas the city manager has determined that all employees of the city employed from October the 1st, 2020 and until September the 30th, 2021 are all eligible workers as the term is defined by the Department of Treasury regulations. These workers were and continue to be needed to maintain continuity of operations of essential critical infrastructure, and were and continue to be critical to protect the health and well-being of the residents of the city of Phenix City in providing public safety, maintenance of essential critical infrastructure, including drainage, roadways, water and sewer services, sanitation, assistance with activities for the population within the city, and the support operations of such. And whereas the mayor and city council are in agreement with this assessment and believes that providing appropriate premium pay as the term is defined in the relevant Department of Treasury regulations, as well as the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021 is a proper use of fiscal recovery funds. And whereas each regular employee is to be granted $42 per month for each full month of full-time employment with the city of Phenix City during the fiscal year, October the 1st, 2020 through September the 31st, 2021, for a total of up to $504. Employees shall be in active status on the date in which a payment is scheduled, pending ARPA fund setup in order to qualify for payment. And whereas regular full-time employees hired during the fiscal year 2021, if hired the 1st through the 15th of the month, $42 premium pay will be paid for that month. If hired the 16th through the end of the month, the $42 premium pay is not to be paid for that month. And whereas each certified firefighter and certified law enforcement officer is to be granted $62 per month for each full month of full-time employment with the city of Phenix City during the fiscal year, October the 1st, 2020 through September the 31st, 2021, for a total of up to $750. Employees shall be in active status on the date in which payment is scheduled, pending ARPA fund setup in order to qualify for payment. And whereas certified firefighters and certified law enforcement officers hired during the fiscal year 2021, if hired the 1st through the 15th of a month, $62.50 premium pay will be paid for that month. If hired the 16th through the end of the month, the $62.50 premium pay is not to be paid for that month. And whereas the same criteria for full employment for both regular employees and certified firefighters and certified law enforcement shall apply to a second payment scheduled for 2 weeks after the initial payment is made. And whereas each employee is to be granted $21 per month for each full month of part-time employment with the city of Phenix City during the fiscal year, October the 1st, 2020 through September the 31st, 2021, for a total of up to $252. Employees shall be in active status on the date in which payment is scheduled, pending ARPA fund setup in order to qualify for payment. And whereas employees hired during the fiscal year 2021, if hired the 1st through the 15th of a month, $21 premium pay will be paid for that month. If hired the 16th through the end of the month, the $21 premium pay is not to be paid for that month. And whereas the same criteria for part-time employment shall apply to a second payment scheduled for 2 weeks after the initial payment is made. And whereas the city manager is hereby authorized to make payments to all employees based on the qualification previously stated, the said total of payment totaling to approximately $432,552 and related employer FICA payment for the premium pay totaling to $33,090. And whereas the city manager and finance director are authorized to use fiscal recovery funds paid to the city of Phenix City as a non-entitlement unit for the premium pay and FICA payments. And whereas the city manager and finance director are further authorized to submit appropriate project and expenditure reports reflecting said premium pay payment to employees to include related FICA employer payments. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Phenix City, Alabama, does hereby authorize this premium payment to qualifying employees in consideration of the COVID-19 pandemic. Said premium payments shall be reduced by federal, state, or local taxes to include appropriate judicial process if applicable. The city manager and finance director are authorized to remove the funds used to pay said premium pay payments as well as employer-related FICA expenses from the fiscal recovery funds appropriated to the city pursuant to the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021 and to submit the appropriate project and expenditure reports supporting said expenditures under the act. Passed, approved, and adopted this 5th day of October 2021.
Thank you, Ms. Lee.
Yes,
Get to blow.
Yes,
Get
sir.
your second win. Thank you. Council, we've heard the reading of the resolution. At this time, I'd like to ask for a motion, please. May I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
All right, we have a motion by Councilwoman Johnson. May I have a second, Council?
Second.
Second, Mr. Day?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. We have the motion in the second. Okay, any comments or discussion? Okay, Mrs. Lee?
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
Mayor,
Oh, I'm sorry.
all right. This is very important. Now, we've had a lot of workers to really work hard through this pandemic. And, you know, as you all know, it's affecting our workforce this time around. We did real good. We did pretty good the first one, but it's affecting us. And if any of you all have been looking at the world news, you know that first responders have become the leading people of deaths from COVID-19. So we have a lot of our people, we have the essential, and we have a lot of people that's involved in the essential part of it, and plus the hazardous duty pay. It's been pretty tough on us, and it's been tough on this family here in Phoenix City as far as trying to take care of other people and putting ourselves in the line of danger. So I want to say thank you to all the people, and we can't say thank you enough. And in putting this together, Ms. Stephanie just saying, as far as putting the documentation, because you have to keep clear and concise documentation with these funds, and establishing the accounts that Mr. Breeder Copeland have to do in finance. They will be doing a fine job in making sure that we keep up with this, you know, because it's something that we really have to keep up with. So I want to especially thank both of them for doing what they're doing too, to try to help take care of our personnel.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Honey.
Well,
Any other
Mayor, I like
comments?
to say this, Mayor, as I listen to Mr. Honey elaborate on that, and I could say, as we said in the past, Phoenix City is a good place to work. And as I can see that Mr. Honey and his staff, those was involved looking out for the employee, and that's a plus right there. That'll build the morale up in the workforce here. Those that are still working for the city of Phoenix City.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Day, Mr. Hahn. If there's no other comments or discussion, I'd like to call for the vote. Mrs. Lee?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Day,
Yes,
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes,
Councilmember Gordy,
Yes.
Mayor Lo.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you. And now, council, proceeding on the building department. We have 3 resolution and public notices in reference to setting public hearing dates and fixing demolition costs associated with the following properties located at Phoenix City. First one is 1004 2nd Street South, 1001 4th Street South, 1004 4th Street South. At this time, council, I will ask the clerk to read one master resolution and the public notice. And if it's the pleasure of the council, we will take all this in one vote, okay?
Fine.
All right, Mrs. Lee.
Yes, sir. Whereas the City Council of the City of Phoenix City, Alabama has been informed by the building official of the city that substandard structures at the following locations in Phoenix City were in need of demolition or removal: 1004 2nd Street South, 1001 4th Street South, 1004 4th Street South. Whereas the City of Phoenix City, Alabama has solicited sealed bids as required by Alabama law, and the apparent low bidders meeting the specifications required for the demolition of the substandard structures are as follows. The amount listed below includes dumping fees: 1004 2nd Street South, J&J Land Development Incorporated, $8,500. 1001 4th Street South, J&J Land Development Incorporated, $5,100. 1004 4th Street South, J&J Land Development Incorporated, $4,100. And whereas the city is required by law, excuse me, to give notice by certified or registered mail to the person last assessed for ad valorem taxes before the final fixing of cost, and a copy of the resolution is to be published in the Citizen of East Alabama, a newspaper of local and general publication in Russell County, Alabama. And whereas the building official of the City of Phoenix City, Alabama was authorized to proceed with the demolition and or removal of the substandard structure with the apparent low bidder at the approved bid price. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Phoenix City, Alabama as follows. 1, that the city clerk give notice by certified or registered mail to the person last assessed for ad valorem taxes, and a copy of this resolution be published in the Citizen of East Alabama newspaper one time before the final fixing of cost and establishment of a special assessment upon the property as required by law. 2, that the date for fixing of cost before the city council shall be November the 2nd, 2021 at 9 a.m. in the Martin Idlehour Park Community Center or via platform Zoom. 3, that at such public hearing, any person interested in this property, as well as the person last assessed for ad valorem taxes, should appear and give reason, if any, why the city council should not establish a special assessment upon the property for the cost of the demolition or removal of the substandard structure, which the owner of the property had either failed or refused to do after it had become a public danger or health hazard. 4, the cost of demolition for each structure as listed above shall be levied against each property as a special assessment and shall constitute a lien against the property to be collected through the Revenue Commissioner's Office for Russell County, Alabama. The council notes that the parcel identification number for each property is listed on the public notice and the individual resolution for each property. 5, that the property owner as shown on the tax records of Russell County, Alabama for each property is as follows. 1004 2nd Street South, State of Alabama, 2016 taxes, State Capitol Building, Montgomery, Alabama, 36104. 1001 4th Street South, Dwayne Gaucher, P.O. Box 2514, Phenix City, Alabama, 36868. 1004 4th Street South, Jaron E. James, care of 1004 4th Street South, LLC, 8058 35th Avenue, St. Petersburg, Florida, 33710. And the public notice reads as follows. Notice is hereby given that the City Council of the City of Phenix City, Alabama will meet on November the 2nd, 2021 at 9 a.m. in the Martin Idlehour Park Community Center, 3743 Moon Lake Drive, or via platform Zoom to consider the fixing of cost incurred by the City of Phenix City for the demolition and or removal of substandard buildings or structures at the following locations: 1004 2nd Street South, 1001 4th Street South, 1004 4th Street South. The legal description is listed on each individual public notice for that property. Any person, firm, or corporation having any interest in the above described property should appear before council at the aforementioned time and place if they have any objections as to why the fixing of costs for the removal of the substandard building or structure should not be assessed as a lien against the property taxes upon which the substandard building or structure is located. This the 5th day of October, 2021.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Lee.
Yes, sir.
Council, we've heard the reading of the master resolution as well as the public notices. At this time, I'd like to call for a motion, please.
Motion to approve.
All right, motion by Councilman Gordon. May I have a second?
Second.
Second, Councilwoman Johnson. Comments or discussion? Okay, if not any, Mrs. Lee?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Day,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy,
Yes.
Mayor Lo.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. And now, council, proceeding on the engineering department. We have a resolution in reference to authorizing Alabama Power to remove and install 8 custom-owned 65 watts area fixtures and 4 APCO leased LED area fixtures from 8,500 to 14,000 lumens range at Ladonia Commercial. Mrs. Lee.
Yes, sir. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Phenix City, Alabama, that the city will authorize Alabama Power to remove and install the following street lights and pay the monthly electric service to Alabama Power Company for the street lights as follows. Remove 8 customer-owned 65W area fixtures. Install 4 APCO leased LED area fixtures, 8,500 to 14,000 lumen range. Passed, approved, and adopted this 5th day of October, 2021.
Okay. Council, we've heard the resolution. At this time, I'd like to ask for a motion. May I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve.
That's motion, Councilman Day, and who was that the second on?
I'll second it, Mayor.
Second on Councilwoman Johnson. Comments or discussion? All right. If not, Mrs. Lee?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Day,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy,
Yes.
Mayor Lo.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. And proceeding on now, Council on the Fire Department. We have a resolution in reference to rescinding resolution number 2021-185, authorizing the mayor and city manager to accept a proposal from Jabali Concrete Construction LLC to replace deteriorated concrete aprons and pads and install an oil and grit separator at Fire Station 1 in an amount not to exceed $43,000. Mrs. Lee.
Yes, sir. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Phoenix City, Alabama, that resolution number 2021-185 adopted September the 8th, 2021, accepting a proposal from Jabali Concrete Construction LLC to replace deteriorated concrete aprons and pads and install an oil and grit separator at Fire Station 1 in the amount of $43,000 is hereby rescinded. Passed, approved, and adopted this 5th day of October, 2021.
Okay. Thank you. We've heard the resolution, Council. At this time, I'd like to call for a motion, please.
Motion to approve.
All right, we have a motion to approve by Councilman Gordy. May I have a second?
Second.
Is that Councilman Day? We
Yes,
have a
sir.
motion and a second. We have that, Mrs. Lee.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Any comments or discussion, Council? All right, call for the vote, Mrs. Lee.
Yes, sir. Councilmember Day,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy,
Yes.
Mayor Lo.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. And also on the Fire Department, Council, is a resolution in reference to authorizing and directing the mayor and city manager to sign and enter into a contract with Jabali Concrete Construction LLC to replace deteriorated concrete aprons and pads and install an oil and grit separator at Fire Station 1 in an amount not to exceed $43,000. Mrs. Lee.
Yes, sir. Whereas Phoenix City Fire Rescue has solicited pricing in order to replace the deteriorated concrete aprons and pads and install an oil and grit separator at Fire Station 1. And whereas the apparent price meeting the required specifications for replacing the concrete aprons and pads and for the installation of an oil and grit separator is from Jabali Concrete Construction LLC in an amount not to exceed $43,000. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Phoenix City, Alabama does hereby accept the proposal from Jabali Concrete Construction LLC and does hereby authorize and direct the mayor and city manager to sign and enter into a contract with Jabali Concrete Construction LLC to replace deteriorated concrete aprons and pads and install an oil and grit separator at Fire Station 1 in an amount not to exceed $43,000. Passed, approved, and adopted this 5th day of October, 2021.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Lee. Council, we've heard the resolution. At this time, I'd like to ask for a motion, please.
Motion to approve.
Motion by, to approve by Councilman Day. May I have a second, Council?
Second.
And we have the second by Councilwoman Johnson. Comments or discussion? All right, Mrs. Lee?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Day,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy,
Yes.
Mayor Lo.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you. The next, Council, on the ordinance, we do have a first reading. It is an ordinance to amend section 4.16-C of the Merit System Rules and Regulation of the City of Phoenix City, Alabama. Mrs. Lee.
Yes, sir. An ordinance to amend sections 4.16-C of the Merit System Rules and Regulations of the City of Phoenix City, Alabama. Be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Phoenix City, Alabama, that the Merit System Rules and Regulations of the City of Phoenix City, Alabama, sections 4.16-C are hereby amended as follows. Section 4.16, Benefits and Services. C, health and dental insurance. After completion of the required waiting period as defined by the participating plan, not to exceed 90 days from commencement of full-time employment, the city will offer regular, full-time, and regular probationary employees health and dental insurance. Those employees hired in seasonal promotion positions will be subject to a 12-month measurement period to determine eligibility for insurance. Employees eligible for coverage shall contribute no more than 30% of the total individual premium, but not exceeding the prescribed percentage of the federal poverty level as determined by the IRS. Employees electing to participate in the annual wellness screening will contribute no more than 10% of the total individual premium. Dependent coverage will also be offered. The city will pay 1/2 of the cost, and the employee will contribute 1/2 of the cost of dependent coverage. When an employee is on leave without pay, the city of Phenix City will pay the individual health insurance premium as well as 1/2 of the dependent coverage on an employee for a period of 6 months after the employee has exhausted all annual and sick leave benefits. After this time, if the employee wishes to remain on the group policy, it will be their responsibility to reimburse the city for the cost of this premium prior to the billing due date for the group. If premium is not paid by the 25th of the following month, coverage will be discontinued. The city shall provide regular full-time employees hired prior to January 1st, 2013, who retire from the city with the same health and dental insurance as provided to active regular full-time employees. Dependent coverage shall also be offered. However, the retired employee will contribute 100% of the cost of the dependent's coverage. The cost for the retired employee shall be paid by the city as follows: 50% paid by the city for 10 years of service at age 60 or more. 60% paid by the city for 15 years of service at age 60 or more. 70% paid by the city for 20 years of service at age 60 or more. 85% paid by the city for 25 years of service, any age. 100% paid by the city for 30 years of service or more, any age. The city shall provide regular full-time employees hired on or after January 1st, 2013, who retire from the city with the same health and dental insurance that's provided to active regular full-time employees. Dependent coverage shall also be offered. However, the retired employee will contribute 100% of the cost of the dependent's coverage. The cost for the retired employee shall be paid by the city as follows: 25% paid by the city for 10 years of service at age 60 or more. 50% paid by the city for 15 years of service at age 60 or more. 65% paid by the city for 20 years of service at age 60 or more. 75% paid by the city for 25 years of service, any age. 90% paid by the city for 30 years of service or more, any age. It will be the responsibility of the retired employee to reimburse the city their share of the cost of the premium due prior to the billing due date for the group. If the premium is not paid by the 25th of the following month, coverage will be discontinued. Be it further ordained that this ordinance shall become effective immediately. Be it further ordained that all laws or parts of laws in conflict herewith are hereby repealed. If any part of this ordinance or the merit system rules and regulations is declared invalid or unconstitutional, such declaration shall not affect the parts which remain. Passed, approved, and adopted blank day of blank 2021.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Lee.
Yes, sir.
Council, we've heard the first reading. At this time, I'd like to ask the council for a motion to place on first reading. They have a motion.
Motion to place on first reading.
All right, we have a motion by Councilwoman Johnson. May I have a second?
Second.
Second, Councilman Gordy. Okay. Mrs. Lee?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Day,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy,
Yes.
Mayor Lo.
Yes.
Thank you.
And next, council, on the agenda for conditional use is an application for conditional use approval submitted by Mildred F. and Harry L. Isabel Heather Manville, power of attorney, to use property located at 1116 Broad Street as a brewery tap room. Mrs. Lee.
Yes, sir. The letter from the Planning Commission dated September the 29th, 2021 to mayor and city council members regarding the conditional use 1116 Broad Street, Mildred F. and Harry L. Isabel, Heather Manville, power of attorney, owner. The Planning Commission of the city of Phenix City met on Tuesday, September the 28th, 2021, to consider the request of Mildred F. and Harry L. Isabel, Heather Manville, power of attorney, for conditional use of the property located at 1116 Broad Street. The applicant wishes to use the property as a brewery tap room. It is the recommendation of the Planning Commission that this request for a conditional use be approved by the City Council. It's signed Pat Howard, Chairman, and Eliza Phillips, Secretary, Phoenix City Planning Commission.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Lee.
Yes, sir.
Council, we've heard the reading of the conditional use. At this time, I'd like to call for a motion, please.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Gordon. Is that a second, Mr. Day?
Yes, sir.
We have the motion and the second. At this time, I'd like to call for the vote. Mrs. Lee?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Day,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy,
Yes.
Mayor Lo.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you. Next, council on the board appointments. First one is the Improvement District, the Brickyard Project. We have one opening. The person who's acting on that improvement board has been notified, and they have requested again to continue to be on this board. That person is J.W. Brannon. And with that, council being said, I will ask that I have a motion to reappoint Mr. J.W. Brannon on this improvement district. May I have a motion to approve?
I've motion that we reappoint J.W. Brennan on this board.
We have the motion by Councilman Day. May I have a second?
Second.
We have the second by Councilwoman Johnson.
Yes.
Mrs. Lee?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Day,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy,
Yes.
Mayor Lo.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, council, the Industrial Development Board, we have one opening. The person who previously served on there was contacted and does not want to continue to serve. So at this time, council, I would like to open the floor for any nominations, for any nominees. At this time, like to ask for any nominations or nominees from the council.
At this time, Mayor, I'd like to appoint Daryl Willis.
Okay. We have a nomination by Councilman Day for Daryl Willis. Are there any others? No other. At this time, council, I would like to ask for a motion for the approval of Daryl Willis to be appointed on the Industrial Development Board. May I have a motion, please?
To approve.
We have a motion by Councilman Day. May I have a second?
Second.
All right, second by Councilwoman Johnson. Okay, Mrs. Lee?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Day,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy,
Yes.
Mayor Lo.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. And proceeding on now, council, on the tree commission, we do have 3 openings. All 3 of those persons has been contacted. One person has agreed to serve again on this tree commission. One person decided not to serve anymore, and one person does not live within the city limits. So with that being said, council, I will ask that we have a motion to reappoint Pamela Stroud, who is the person that wants to continue to serve on this tree commission. So at this time, I'd like to ask for a motion to approve reappointing Pamela Stroud on the tree commission.
I'll offer that motion at this time, Mayor.
All right, we have the motion by Councilman Day. May I have a second?
Second.
Second, Councilwoman Johnson. Thank you all. With that said, I'd like to call for the vote. Mrs. Lee?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Day,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy,
Yes.
Mayor Lo.
Yes, thank you. The other person, Stephen Phillips, who decided not to, wants to continue to serve. At this time, council, I am open the floor for any nominations. At this time, I would like to ask, are there any nominees? At this time?
Yes, Mayor, I like to appoint Tommy Ware.
Okay. We have a nomination by Councilman Day. At this time, I am closing that nomination, and I am asking for a motion to approve Mr. Tommy Ware to the Tree Commission. May I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion by Councilman Gordon. May I have a second?
Second.
Second, Councilwoman Johnson. Mrs. Lee?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Day,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy,
Yes.
Mayor Lo.
Yes.
Thank you.
And also, council, as I stated, we do have a third person that was contacted. This person does not live in Phenix City, but has served and done a great job on it. At this time, I would like to open the floor for any nomination. At this time, I would like to ask the council for any nominees that would be nominated to serve on the Tree Commission.
Mayor, I'd like to nominate Miss Linda Pritchett.
Okay,
Linda Pritchett.
we do have a nominee. At this time, are there any others? If not, I am declaring the nomination closed and would like to ask the council for a motion to approve Ms. Linda Pritchett to be appointed to the Tree Commission board. May I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
All right, we have a motion by Councilman Day. May I have a second?
Second.
Second, Councilman Gordon. Okay, we have the motion and second. At this time, I'd like to call for the vote. Mrs. Lee?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Day,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy,
Yes.
Mayor Lo.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you. Now, council, at this time, I'd like to turn it over to our city attorney, Mr. Jimmy Graham. Mr. Graham?
Yes, sir, Mayor and Council, we have one claim on the agenda today. That's a claim filed by Mr. Quavon Green. Mr. Green was involved in an accident down on 165, which is the part of 165 that is in the city of Phenix City. A lady by the name of Jessica Stone was traveling in the same direction that Mr. Green was. A vehicle pulled out in front of her. She swerved to miss that vehicle. Mr. Green swerved to not hit her. He lost control of his vehicle, rolled it over, and suffered damage, and he claims in his claim that he suffered injury. He's made a demand for $30,000. You've got the memorandum that Assistant Chief had written, which details everything about the vehicle. He claims, as part of his claim, that the narrative section of the crash report and the Spillman report were inaccurate. Those were corrected. And after review of all the information that was had, it did not result in any additional changes. And Mr. Green has demanded that Ms. Stone and Progressive Insurance Company pay him his damages, and they've denied him. So he's claiming against the city, which we had nothing to do with it. He was also cited for driving without a license. He was convicted in municipal court for that. He also had a defect as far as the vehicle code goes about having ball tires, which means he had no tread on them, and that could have contributed to him losing control of his vehicle. However, he was not cited for that. And based on Chief Stottinger's memorandum and the action report, my recommendation is to deny this claim.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Graham. Council, we've heard the recommendation of our attorney. At this time, I'd like to ask for a motion to approve the attorney's recommendation. May I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
All right, motion, Councilman Day. May I have a second?
Second.
Second, Councilman Gordon. Okay, we have the motion and second. Mrs. Lee.
Yes, sir. Councilmember Day,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy,
Yes.
Mayor Lo.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Lee. Thanks to the council. We certainly appreciate you all. We miss Councilman Bailey. He will be back this week. But again, he was not able to attend, spending time with his family, which is always a good thing to do. So we certainly appreciate him, and I appreciate the rest of the council. Appreciate the team of the city manager, and we just thank you all for what you're doing with that. Are there any council member that would like to say a few words?
Yes, sir. Mayor, I'd like to pick it back on what you stated already and concur what you said to Mr. Hunter and the those folks that work for the city are involved, doing a real good job. And matter of fact, the whole city, all the folks work for the city doing a fantastic job. And times like these, we just have to be prayed up and be real careful out there in these streets. One of the things that my hat's off to Phyllis Freer. I had the opportunity to visit a community down there called Soul. The name of the program was Soul of the Height, better known as the Brickyard. So I had the opportunity to go down there and had a real nice time. I was very impressed for the amount of people that came back home, and I spoke with quite a few of them down there that I had, had met in the past and reacquainted. And they also had food and stuff like that. I want to say this, my hat's off to you, Ms. Freer. And I certainly enjoyed the food, the hot dog, what have you. They had things for the kids. It was real nice. Thank you. That's all I have, Mayor.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Day. Any other council member?
I have a comment, Mayor. I know we got off to a rough start, with approving the minutes. So I want to apologize if I offended anyone on this. It is my obligation to understand, and I just may have to just do a better job, no doubt about it, a better job on understanding what I'm doing as far as voting and so forth. But I apologize to anyone if I offended anyone, especially you, Mayor Lo. I want to say congratulations again to the employees, for their years of service. It's always notable to give them recognition for serving and doing the great job that they do. So congratulations to those employees for reaching a milestone in their career path. And also, I'm wearing pink in honor of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And I want to just take a minute to recognize all the women that have battled and beat breast cancer. This deadly disease has taken so many lives of women and female. We know that this year poses a challenge just about everything. The pandemic, so many deaths, so many fires and disasters that's going on throughout our nation. And breast cancer prevention is no exception. Although we saw a setback on some of the screening and early detection, but we as women will rise to the challenge once again together to beat this deadly disease. And so if you're not a supporter of the National Breast Cancer Foundation and Corporation, we encourage you to do so because I think working together through years of working together, this organization has raised a lot of awareness and research to beat breast cancer. So again, in honor of all the women in October to recognize the awareness of getting checked for breast cancer. And we will continue to work together. It's been a great session today. Mayor, thank you for allowing me the opportunity to render those words. And I hope everyone has a great rest of the week.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson. But let me say this, you did not offend me, and I think I can speak for the rest of the council. You did not defend them, and I think I can speak for Councilman Bailey. You would not have offended him. You know, I've said individually, we've said it collectively. It was great dialogue because it gives all of us a chance to better understand in doing our jobs that we have been chosen to do. As I stated, this is not an easy gig. It's a lot of things that come after us. It's a lot of laws. It's a lot of things. So don't apologize for that, but let's take it as a learning tool for all of us to get better, because we're in this position as the council to lead correctly, to be consistent, and to do the right thing. And we have to push each other. So great dialogue is always good, because we are doing it so we can make things better for our employees as well as this entire community. So you did not offend anyone. It was great dialogue. It's a better understanding. So anytime we can take some and get better with, it's always a good thing. Even though it's sometimes we may perceive, as I noticed, perceive that it's not good, but it was great dialogue. So you did not offend me or anyone else. It's a learning tool for all of us to get better. And because that's what we have to do. Every day we got to get better for the sake of this community. So you don't owe me or anyone else any apologies.
Mayor, I agree with you 100%. And, you know, we all as human, and we all make mistakes. You know, and the thing is this right here, she did the right thing. She was in doubt. If you're in doubt, just ask questions. I'll tell you one thing about Arthur today. He gonna ask questions wherever he goes if you don't understand something. And you know, sometimes the question might be redundant, and sometimes the question might not make any sense. But Arthur today gonna ask questions. That's
yeah, he dead right on that. And let me say this, Mrs. Johnson. Sometime using this analogy, we can think we're hitting the B key, which is the right key. But sometimes other people can see quicker than we can that we need to be hitting the A key. So as he stated, if we don't understand something, let's raise our hand, because I do know we want to do what is right and do it in the right way for this community. So I appreciate all the councilmen. Thank you all so much. Mr. Gordon, anything you want to say? Take away? Okay, Mr. Hummer, anything you want to say to bring us home?
I just want to say thank you to Mr. and Mrs. Isabel. You know, they was Miss Mildred and Harry Isabel that earlier they worked real good with our economic development department, and their grandchild Heather Mansville, working with Sean and the group and planning group and economic development to help kick off some things here downtown. They've been a family that's been involved in this city for a long time. And I appreciate everything that they're doing to work with the organization they're working with the brewery to help kick off some things. I think they need to be congratulated for that, because they're helping to spearhead some things that's going to be great for the future of this downtown area. Also, as you all know and can see, we had pretty bad day yesterday with the storms, and the police officers and public works and engineering and utilities was working late yesterday into yesterday evening and last night, and continue to do that this morning as we approach probably near 10 inches of rain. And it's a lot of rain that fell in a short amount of time that caused a lot of problems. So I want to congratulate them on getting out here and working hard, even with the shortages that we have. So we have some things to deal with right now that's out there. But when it rains like this, you know, we are rendered helpless at times when the flooding starts, because there's nothing, they don't have anything. The water is running down from Atlanta through LaGrange, trying to get to Florida, and it's running through here to Chattahoochee, and our water sometimes don't have a lot of space or room to run off into it. It backs up from Phenix City all the way into Smith Station through the creeks, Mill Creek, and it's pretty tough. And I hope people have understanding it's times that it's nothing we can do but get out there and try to protect and try to rescue people if we have a problem. We're not an exception to the rest of the world when nature takes its place. So we get out and try to make sure we can do the best as far as getting people to be prepared to move from where they are, especially in low-lying areas. I hope with and congratulate the chief on his first day this week and starting in the public safety officer's job. He was out late last night trying to make sure he was in different spots and working with all the departments. We're gonna have to have a public forum, especially for citizens that live in low-lying areas, because this is something, it's gonna be a reoccurring event with the way global warming is going and the way weather is. So we need to be more prepared. And I do want to say, before we forget this, we all need to be humbled and appreciate what's going on and what the good Lord has done for us. And we do have to work together. It's an ongoing process, and we all have to do one thing. You've always said, Mayor, and it exists and it's going to continue to exist. We're going to have to agree to disagree. But in our situation, we got to make sure we agree to disagree in moving forward, not stagnation of anything, because people depend on us. And sometimes we do search and look in areas, and I hope for the future, we can do a lot more of taking care of things and preparing before we get on live TV. That's my opinion. And I hope we can work better at that with one another, because everybody has seen what happened today, and it's a good thing to be apologetic for myself or anybody else, and all of them, and all should be accepted, and we should do better going forward with a lot of different things. That's all I have to say about it.
Thank you. We got to get better, and the main thing, we got to love each other, and we're not going to clip each other. We're not going to always agree, but we have the responsibility for this community, and we push each other in the right way. We're going to disagree, but at the end of the day, we're going to still love each other, and we're going to do things in decency and in order. So let's not apologize for pushing each other, but we can do it the right way. And certainly it was the right way this morning, because it allowed all of us to get better and to help move this city forward. And I am so grateful. I'm truly thankful for the council. I'm thankful for this team, and we are a family. If we don't show that internally with each other, we're certainly not going to do it externally with the customers out there and our citizens. So it has to start right here with us. So and it has, and I appreciate you all. We thank you all. We thank CTV Beam for bringing this, and let's continue to, as I always say, one of my phrases, the greatest one, let's be a lifter and not a leaner. Thank you all, and have a great rest of the day. We do stand adjourned.